Welcome to this Zentangle Quickie. My name is Heather Hartwick Gladden. I'm a certified Zentangle teacher. And today we're going to take a look at the tangle Rumpus by Zentangle. Now this is something I've just been calling it's a kind of a self-contained tangle. That's going to be my term for it. And it's really a lot of fun. So this one starts off with an orb in the center, and we're going to see how well I do this on a little bijou tile. Well, I said when I did my step outs, I could do it on a small scale, and I think I can do it here too. All right, so orb in the center, and then we're going to put 6 orbs around the outside. Now you can, and I'm going to keep them just a little ways away. Now my personal secret, because to place 6 around the outside is a little daunting. What I personally like is to be able to go, okay, straight line here, and then subdivide, boom, we have it. That makes 8 though. And well, I think that you could if you had a big enough space. You know, for this it'll be a little bit tight. So what I do see is I can kind of eyeball, ooh, maybe that's a way, you know, just kind of, I can eyeball, okay, one would go here, one would go here. I do want to keep them kind of sort of out to the edge, because we're essentially creating a circle here. You know, and then this one, you know, it's kind of, you can sort of subdivide. And I would do and have it go out a little bit because I want it to create that circle. And then sometimes too, you can kind of gauge, as long as this is in the center. Like I said, just for those like me that just kind of struggle with being able to put something somewhere in the middle of nowhere with no what do I call it? Like with, I like things that have a foundation, whether it's a grid or you do your string and then you start from here, versus these are kind of floating. So anyway, I share those. Hopefully that is something that helps you out. All right. Then next step is we're going to do essentially seeds. So I'm going to go from the center first. So from the center to each orb on the outside. Now I'm going to make these rather thin seeds. So kind of like this. It seemed like sometimes that helped, but this is something that you can play with. You know, one of those, after you've done something once, and we're connecting all of these. Yeah, so once you've done it once, you know, then as you're doing it, you know, hopefully you're thinking, well, what if I did this? What if I did that? And then you can play some more and you know, do it again and incorporate those things. All right, so once we have these done, then we're going to do the outside. And, you know, and honestly, I mean, you don't have to do it in that order. You know, I just do it in that order because it makes sense to me. But again, you can definitely just have fun with this one. All right. And play around with the sizes, the dimensions, and all of that. All right. Next, we're going to do, so looking at we'll call these center ones spokes. So coming from one of these, and we're going to do a curved line. It's not really auraing this because we're doing it at a greater curve. But so drawing it once, and then we're going to kind of aura this one. We're going to start at the same place though, and just kind of do another curved line that's just a little bit bigger. So it's not quite an aura. It's kind of like it's kind of banana. It's like, if these are seeds and these are bananas. How's that? Now the challenge with this one, just what I found, is deciding how far out to go with this curve line. And again, so as you've done it, as you do it once, you know, come up with some ideas, and it's just something that you can play with. Because the next step for me is kind of a bit of a challenge. Whoops. So if you do something if you feel like you've gone a little too far, this one is like, it's right in the middle. Do I want to go further? Well, or do I want to go in? Well, let's go in. Like so. Okay. That's always a nice, kind kind of safety. You know, if you've gone too far, then just decide, well, if I go out further, then am I going to like that, or do I want to go in? All right. The next step, and this is the one that I personally just have, you know, kind of the most challenge with, because what we're going to do is we're going to do a curved line also, but we're going to draw that one underneath this one. Okay, so starting on the opposite, the seat opposite, and like I said, we're going to same idea. So this is where, as you play with it, you can play with the distance that you have, other ideas that you come up with. So one thing I found was, I'm going to start at this end because I was starting here and it was really hard to kind of get that curve because I'm already into using the hollow bow technique because this is also narrow here. So, you know, I want to kind of have that kind of a similar curve, and I just found that it was easier to do it this way. And we'll just see how these line up, and however it ends up is good. So that way I can kind of get the curve started. And I'm not going to do too much, but on the second one, yeah, I like that. Let me just tighten this one in a little bit more that way. Okay. Sometimes they don't end up looking as nice as the first one, and so that's just my own personal challenge with that. But too, so they don't have to go behind, or even if it's just a little sliver like that, it's okay. There we go. But I did find that it was a lot easier for me to do it from this angle, because I can kind of get the curve started in my hand and in my head, and then easier to finish it up versus starting from the other side. So you tangle, you know, long enough. You know, if something is frustrating you, it's good to kind of have just think about, well, what could that be? And I got two more. And because everyone is different, it says that's why I like to, if I find something like that, that's why I like to make sure to share it, because if it helps you, then great. And it seems like some of these, like if I'm drawing my curve line, it's going to be right in there, and I'm not going to, you know, we're not drawing through, we're drawing under. So that's why you pick up your pen so we don't collide, at least not on this one anyway. But here, and even though I'm picking up my pen and I'm turning it, in my head I'm still seeing the curve line, and because I had this good start, that's what seemed to really, really help. So, all right. And so isn't it kind of neat if we kind of stop and take a moment and look at it? It's like, oh, look at how cool that is. It's kind of like somebody earlier mentioned a kind of Celtic knot-ish, but it's like little oval rings that are you know kind of intertwined. It's just neat. All right. So next step is same idea with this curve line that we did here, but we're going to do it up on top. Like so. And it just kind of finishes it off nice. And then still, same thing, you know, you can play with how, you know, I seem to be doing these ones bigger because it's kind of like a celebration of, oh, I made it through the middle. All right, woohoo. All right, and then last one. And there we go. You know, and actually, I did miss, kind of sort of miss a step on the step out. It had putting a little dot in the center of this, of just the center one. That's coming from Zentangle on their step out. That's what they had. Just letting you know, you can do, you know, whatever you want with the orbs and have a lot of fun with them. Just like everything Zentangle, you know, we have the pattern. And we do the pattern, and then if you want to kind of, you know, put your own twist or spin on it, then of course you can. Now, the next step, but for these, I'm sticking to what the step out art is, because, you know, I want to do that, and then, like, again, it's up to you how you want to have fun with it. So what we're going to do next is we're going to fill in the background with orbs. And so all of these, you know, double curve lines that we made, I kind of think that they look a little bit like ribbons. And so we're not going to do anything in those. The challenge with this tangle is making sure that you don't just start, you know, decorating on the inside of one. Of course, unless you want to. And if you end up doing that, then just, you know, go with it, and it's okay. All right, so we're going to put orbs in, and I'll show you at the end, you know, there's other things you could do, other textures that you could fill in the background with. We did some, just like some aura-ing, or I'm imagining where somebody could put in, you know, just some straight lines. I do like the orbs. And so what I'm doing here also, I'm starting in the middle. And especially on like these ones at the tops of all of these, because if you can see, you know, we kind of created these triangles, right? And then we have the curve line, and then the curve line on top and the curve line underneath. So what I like to do is start kind of at the fattest point on these, and just start an orb there, and like right here, it's like, well, that's the biggest point, so I want to make sure that I have a nice orb in that center. And then work my way to either side. And then we're going to fill in all of these. Little sections. I say, like, even these little slits, I'm putting, you know, doing my best to put in little orbs. And then as I'm going, if you see these little gaps that are left behind, when we put these orbs in, it's up to you if you want to, I like to just color those in, because it has a neat effect. But you could always, you know, just do the orbs first, see if you like it, because it creates a neat extra bit of contrast. But yeah, feel free to, you know, oh, actually, and I almost forgot, so this one up here too, same thing. In that little gap in that background, we are putting the orbs in. And I'm kind of doing the little fill-ins as I go. And you know what? If you get kind of sloppy like this, if you know, feel free, you can just kind of redraw that line if you want. But I think, let's see, what other thoughts do I have on this, because otherwise I will make a little pause and finish it, and you can even pause at this moment, and you know, if you're tangling along, and you know, finish the what I was calling it earlier, the orb marathon. Oh, that got a little sloppy. Finish these orbs, and then we'll talk about shading. So I'm going to just hit pause really quick. Feel free to do the same, and we'll be back in well, it'll just be a second in YouTube time, and we'll show some shading and take a look at the finished product. So be right back. All right, I'm back. So, having filled in all of these orbs, now we'll do some shading. And the way we'll do, there's, you know, of course, all kinds of ways that you could do the shading. But what I'm going to share just basically what they had shared on from Zentangle. So, I'm going to put, actually, I was looking for my other example here. What have I, oh, there it is. All right, so actually I'm just going to do a kind of a half moon around the these little orbs, and I'll show you why. So well, maybe I might be modifying it just a bit then, I guess. Oh, and around the center, and I'm kind of going a little bit heavy. All right, then with the tortillon, just spread it out a bit. With things like this, you want to, because we're adding like some curve to it, and we of course don't want it all to turn gray. But see, like we have here, where we've kind of gone I don't know if that's, a third or a quarter way in on both sides, and then we leave the original tile color there, so that way it accentuates the a curve, or gives the illusion of a curve. And same thing. So just being careful. It looks so neat. And actually, this one, and I'm kind of going around that center. I'm not sure if I want to have that center showing, or just like all kind of grayed in. Okay, whoops. And then let me get this side. Yeah, and this side. And we'll see how that looks. Ooh, that looks neat, doesn't it? And so you can always play with, how dark you go. How far, spread out. You could extend a little bit, by just pushing the graphite out just a little bit as you need it. But it looks really cool. And what a fun tangle. It just, I don't know. It's really, really neat. And what I love extra about this one is usually, like I said, the challenge part that I have, and I'm just noticing, it's like, oh, I should have put some little orbs right in here. There we go. And the challenge I have is where we're doing this, this second part, this hollow bow part with that double curved line there, and I'm always at that point just like, oh, this doesn't look so great. But then when you get all the orbs in and you get it decorated, get it shaded, it's amazing. So it's one of those, trust the Zentangle process, trust it, And if you end up with something that you don't like, there's always options, adding coloring in. Like if you didn't like the orbs that you did, or something went awry, you can always go back and just color it in solid if you want. All right, so I had mentioned I wanted to share some of the other things. I want to back up my camera here a little bit. So on this one, I did like a half circle, so not on the outside, but I wanted to share with you what it looks like to do it kind of on the outside as well. Because I know on Zentangle's Step Out, they kind of did it all the way around, and I'm one of those, I'm not sure if I liked it or not. I might also add some graphite or something around the outside. So that's fun. And actually, there's a neat little star that gets created in the center. And on this one, because this is bigger, I decided to darken all of that in, and it was just kind of neat. And then I did this one is on a Renaissance tile, or a tan tile. And so that way you can add in the white charcoal pencil along with the graphite and add some extra dimension there. This one I decided to do, I aura'd these little sections. So I alternated. I wanted to also see what it would look like to alternate. So we did it. And it turned out kind of neat. So there's other things that you could do in that background if you feel like it. On the sessions that we had today, had some people that, one person that did a tangle in I think I'm trying to remember. I think it was the main seeds that we did, that first set that we did, and I'm like, oh, that's a neat idea, because it added a really interesting texture to those, and it just a lot of gorgeous things. So with that, in the description section, I have a link to my Step Out, as well as if I find I think there's some videos or something. If I find some other information as I find it, I'll add it there. So one of those. If you really like this, and if I don't have something there, feel free to check back. If you like the video, also thumbs up are greatly appreciated, as well as if you liked it enough to maybe see more and want to subscribe to the channel. Would love to have you subscribe. And then always make sure to click that notification bell next to the subscribe, so that way you can decide how you want to be notified, if you want to be notified at all. And, oh, there was a last thing. Links in that description section also on how to connect with me if you want to. We have a nice Facebook, it's called Tangle Addicts Community. It's a group, private group on Facebook that where we share the stuff that we've done, and you can ask questions, and it's just a really nice positive group where we share the things from these videos as well as the classes. And speaking of classes, on my website I do have a list of classes. I do some free and some that there's a charge for. I have a club that I started recently. It's still in the beginning phases, so I'm offering a nice discount and bringing on those early adopters. I call them founding members, and their price will never change as long as they maintain that membership as a thank you for being an early adopter and supporting my efforts as I bring these videos and some of the free classes as well as the paid classes. So you kind of get all access for any of the paid classes that I put on, which are right now going to be at least once a month, and then I'll just be adding to it. So anyway, lots of information there for you. And with that, thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and I wish you happy tangling.